got the next set. But before we get to the next particular piece in this little Photoshop adventure, couple of things about photo repair. All right. Most of you did a good job. Okay, you really did. I don't want you to think, I'm not expecting it to look professional. It's not what I'm expecting. All right. And it's kind of weighted. And what I mean by that is if you get everything done and you struggle on that last little basket with the flowers on it, that was the hardest piece. So, if you don't get that completely done, you'll notice at your grade, you'll be like, oh, I still got a 90. Well, that's why. Okay. And you can always resubmit it. Okay. This week, next week, whenever. You can always resubmit it. All right. And the good part about having so many projects due and get graded is that it makes them not worth as much individually. Does that make sense? Like for my sophomore theory class last trimester, they had 3 grades. So if you don't do well on one, that hurts, right? So this you're going to have a lot of grades in. So a couple things when it comes to sort of editing photos and repairing photos. The first thing is when you're editing and repairing, you want to zoom in, okay? And you can zoom in and then zoom out to see how it looks. All right? But really zooming in is going to be very important to how you do it. All right? And there are several instances where it's going to be a one-click scenario. Photoshop has done some really, really significant things with content aware. So in some cases, I could grab this, if this is my first piece, and I could say, let me just fill it. And why don't we do it with content aware and see what happens? That's done. Okay? The easiest thing is always best. And here's the trick about Photoshop that I like teaching Photoshop. If you do it differently than me, but you get the exact same result or better, fine. Okay? Now somebody might do the clone stamp there. Somebody might do the patch tool there. Okay? It doesn't matter. What matters is it looks right. Now, if I get done here, all right, and right now I honestly can't tell that there was a sign there. Can you? No. All right? But I might look at it, and the one thing you got to understand, go away, I got it, go away. All right? The one thing you might understand about Photoshop is that sometimes it's not, I got lucky there. It's a flat background, pretty simple. But sometimes it's not just one tool. I might use the content aware fill and might have to go back over, okay, with the clone stamp, the patch tool, right, the healing brush, or all 3. Okay? Usually it's not just one specific tool. So I would go about this, and how I always go about this, Jordan, make sure you're paying attention, is get the easy stuff done first. Get that done, get it out of the way, and then hit the challenges. You'll feel better about yourself, trust me. Because if you spend 2 hours on the one thing and you can't, you're like, I've gotten nothing done. At least if you get the other stuff done, then you can stick to that other thing, okay? Now, when it comes to going down here, okay, this floor, overall, you're like, oh, that'll be easy. Except it has so many subtle changes in color, all right, and shadow that it can be difficult. So if I try the same trick here, all right, I do this. Do it again. We'll go edit, fill, content aware. Not terrible. Okay? I may have to go back in and grab like the clone stamp. Now I use the right bracket, where is he? And the left bracket to make them bigger and smaller. Whenever you're doing any of this, you want to make sure your hardness is way down. Hard edges will key people that there's Photoshop. Okay? So I might go in there, like this darker area feels a little funky, so I might just option click over here and just kind of tap. You'll find with the clone stamp that painting like a brush with the clone stamp is a mess. So clicking and tapping is usually a good way to go with the clone stamp, okay? So I might tap that. I might come over here and do the same thing, all right? But there's so many subtleties, okay? Now, the difference between the clone stamp and the healing brush, all right? If I take this area over here, option click, and come over here, I get this. The clone stamp clones point A to point B. That's it. Okay? It's great for if somebody's got a zit on a photo. Okay? Little things. The healing brush, okay, you have the spot healing brush and the healing brush. I use the healing brush more so than the spot healing brush. The healing brush, I can option click here and paint over here. And what it's doing is it's taking the texture from here, but matching the light from here. So you can take a dark area, clone it, or heel brush it to a light area, and it matches the light area's tone. That's the biggest difference between those two tools. All right? Try not to, most junior designers, if you will, if I can call you that, get stuck on clone stamp. I'm going to clone stamp this, I'm going to clone stamp this, I'm going to clone stamp this, I'm going to clone stamp this. Try not to do that. Clone stamp's a good way to start, but usually you've got to come back with something else. All right? A good key, and I put it on Corbin's piece, a good key to it being like photoshopped is you see these little repetitions. This pattern starts to come out. I call it fish scaling. All right? And it's one of those things that when you see it, you're like, something doesn't look right there. The objective of something like this, a project like this, is to make it look like somebody can look at the photograph and go, so what's the deal? All right? That's what we talked yesterday with Sam, is up here at the window, okay? I removed the sign. If there's like a leftover shadow, I could go back here if I wanted to. And let me lower my hardness down a little bit here. Whoa, where's it cloning from? Look from here. There we go. And I could remove the shadow down here to make it different. As long as it fits, as long as it looks right. Okay? So getting down here, once I start, this is how I usually start. I get the rough stuff done, and then I go back in and start to repair it. Okay? The key to something like this, and as a graphic designer, this is what I end up doing with photographs. Oh, I'm doing a postcard for a real estate agent, and somebody left a trash can in front of the house on the photograph they took, or a hose somewhere we don't want it. And I usually just wipe that out, something like that. That's usually, as a graphic designer, where I'm at with Photoshop, is photo editing, as opposed to photo compositions, which you're going to work on today. Okay? The last thing, in Photoshop, I want Photoshop files, PSD files. So this comes in as a JPEG.
Yeah, I saved it as a JPEG.
So I want you to go to Save As, okay? Don't show this again. I'm saving it to my computer. All right? I want you to change the format to Photoshop. And the other key thing, and this is for me, put your name in the file. In Classroom, okay, I have all of your files handed in. And then I go to download the folder, so I can download all the files at once. Except then I have a bunch of photos that say, remove. Yes, I can go back to Classroom, or I can go back to Drive and see whose it is. But that's just an extra step for me. So if you could, and you should get into the habit of naming your files, your name, removal, that's it, okay? Your name, the project. Your name, the project, okay? It helps me, but it's also going to help you later on if you're trying to find the file later on. Okay? All right? So we just saved that. Mr. B, remove. Desktop, done. Okay? Anything in Photoshop, I want as a Photoshop file. Is it a big deal that it's a JPEG? No. But if you know anything about files, and at this point you may not, a JPEG is called a lossy format file. What does that mean? That means that every time you open up a JPEG and save it, and open up a JPEG and save it, and open up a JPEG and save it, it loses a little bit of data every time. Photoshop files don't do that. TIFF files don't do that. PNG files don't do that. EPSs don't do that, but JPEGs do. That's why they're based of the web. They're web-based files. Okay? So, just wanted to kind of go over that from yesterday. Let me kill my calendar because we don't need that. Today you're going to get back to our wonderful Adobe website. All right? And we're going to scroll down, and you're going to complete the Photo Composite course. So if you scroll down, okay, it's a quick one. It's this one right here. It is literally 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. That's it. It's a quick 25 minutes. You're going to complete that. That's going to help you, again, work your composition skills, okay? Then you're going to go to the folder, okay? And you have 4 images. You're going to take these and you're going to combine them into one composite image. How you do that is up to you. I would suggest using the beach photograph as your basis for it, okay? And then doing everything else. But you'll notice on the directions when you do something like this, Okay? All you're going to do is open up that original beach photograph and begin. Bring these in to it. Okay? Photo composites can be something as simple as you've got a photograph of someone that they love, but their like ear got cut off. And you take a photo of them with their ear, and you take the ear, you replace it, you repair it. That's a composite image. Okay? It can be taking 3 parts of somebody else and turning them into a mutant. Okay? Or it can be what we're going to do next week, which is an advertisement, where you're going to take multiple images, you're going to bring them together. Some of them are fantasy-based. This thing is kind of fantasy-based, as you can tell. I got stuff from Star Wars, I got a plane, I got a pirate ship, and I got the beach. Okay? They can be fantasy-based, all right? The key for this week is getting you comfortable with Photoshop. So we're going to do this, and then on Friday, you're going to do a more advanced composite tutorial. That, again, is just practicing these things, because next week, we have one project, and it's going to be the photo composite, okay, which will be an advertisement. I keep saying it. We'll talk about it on Monday. But, okay? So today, it's that quick 25-minute little course. Follow through it. Okay, then you're going to take these images, and you're going to make your own. I do not need to see, all right, the completed tutorial. All right, this is on the honor set scale. I'm assuming you're going to try it, because if you don't, you're going to have a heck of a time doing the other one. Okay? Any questions? All right, cool. Get to it. Let me know if you have anything as you go through.
Mr. Deacon, okay.
Yes.